HD. You're watching KGUN-9 on your side. News at 10.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Guy Atchley.
And I'm Stella Inger. Well, there will be no executions in Arizona until a full review of yesterday's execution of Joseph Wood is complete.
Today, Arizona Department of Corrections Director Charles Ryan slammed allegations the almost 2-hour execution was botched. The 55-year-old inmate was injected at 1:57 p.m. and died at 3:49 p.m. During that time, witnesses say Wood was gasping for air. The DOC says he was snoring.
Wood was convicted in the 1989 shooting death of his estranged girlfriend Deborah Dietz and her father Eugene at the family's Tucson automotive shop. 9 News Side's Corey Marshall was in Florence yesterday for the execution. She's live in the newsroom with the very latest. Corey.
Guy and Stella, today Governor Jan Brewer requesting for a full review of that 2-hour execution. Right now, the issue at hand, the word of media witnesses versus the Arizona Department of Corrections. From the start, 55-year-old convicted killer Joseph Wood's execution was even more controversial than usual. The inmate, the first in Arizona to receive the 2-dose protocol, the new lethal injection linked to problematic executions in other states. Witnesses say after Wood received the lethal injection, he became sedated, then began gasping for air. The gasping lasted for 2 hours, they say. The Arizona Department of Corrections says review evidence so far shows nothing went wrong, citing the Pima County Medical Examiner's physical autopsy report, which concludes the IV was, quote, perfectly placed. Following Wood's execution, the surviving family of Deborah and Eugene Dietz, Wood's victims, rejected any idea their sister and father's killer suffered, siding with the ADC.
I don't believe he was gasping for air. I don't believe he was suffering. Sounded to me as though he was snoring. Everybody's more worried about, did he suffer? Who really suffered was my dad and my sister when they were killed.
In an interview with Politico, Senator John McCain called Wood's execution torture, saying, quote, I believe in the death penalty for certain crimes, but that is not an acceptable way of carrying it out, and people who were responsible should be held responsible. Now, the Arizona Department of Corrections says they are also awaiting toxicology reports as part of that full review. Live in the newsroom, Corey Marshall, KGUN-9 on your side.
Thanks, Corey. And now to the story of an Arizona man who legal experts admit escaped the death penalty only to land back in jail tonight in Arkansas.
Randy Brazil is one of 2 men convicted in the 1991 rape and murder of 2 Elfrida girls. His accomplice was put to death. Brazil, despite damning DNA evidence, was not. Instead, he was charged with second-degree murder. Tonight, in a story you will only see on 9 on your side, we are hearing from the victim's family about the pain that still remains.
And from legal experts about why this case would have a completely different result today. Maggie Vespa here with the story.
Guy, Stella, when Patty Hancock heard Brazil had been arrested again, she thought it was for, quote, killing someone else's baby. She told me today via Skype she was relieved instead to learn he was charged with indecent exposure and urinating in public. Still, Hancock says that relief won't bring back her little girl.
He stole my child, and he murdered her, and he tortured her, and he raped her, and he stabbed her, and he broke her bones. And he left her there to die.
They say time heals all wounds. Unfortunately for Patty Hancock, time is the most painful part.
Everybody says he did his time. No, he did not do his time. He will never do enough time for me.
Enough, says Hancock, equates to death. The sentence handed down to Richard Stokely for his part in the brutal kidnapping, rape, and murder of Hancock's 13-year-old daughter, Mandy, and her friend, Mary Snyder. Brazil's lesser charge and sentence came despite DNA evidence, seemingly proving he had raped both girls, just like Stokely.
And I was so ashamed of Cochise County for this because they let it happen.
So how did it happen?
That was at the very beginning of the use of DNA evidence in criminal cases.
Current Cochise County Attorney Edward Reinheimer never worked the Brazil case, but says in 1991, DNA and the laws surrounding it were new and untested. Brazil's attorneys knew this. They argued their client was entitled to a speedy trial and shouldn't have to wait for this newfangled evidence to be processed, making the DNA inadmissible. Reinheimer says it's a problem turned non-issue today.
Now we have a specific rule which allows judges to extend the speedy trial deadline in those cases where there's scientific evidence that's waiting for analysis at the crime lab.
A point that provides little comfort to Patty Hancock, who for the first time in 4 years knows where her daughter's killer is. But it won't last.
Because that was my child he stole. You don't steal people's children. You don't do that and then get away with it.
And Randy Brazil is currently serving 70 days and paying $700 in fines for his crimes in Arkansas. Since he was never convicted of raping those girls here in Arizona, he is not a registered sex offender. Stella?
Maggie, thank you. A number of new laws in effect for Arizona tonight. One of them includes cough medicine. Now you must be at least 18 to buy certain over-the-counter cough medicine. Medicine with dextrometaphorphan can cause hallucinations. Also, revenge porn, posting nude photos online of anyone without their permission, could mean 18 months in jail. And 9 News Side has learned that there are no more unaccompanied migrant children at the facility in Nogales. Last month, about 1,000 children were there. Border Patrol says the last 4 left on Tuesday. The majority are staying in Texas. 300 are here in Tucson.
An accused child pornographer is free on bail tonight after being arrested on the east side. Police arrested this man, 39-year-old Jonathan Patton, accused of downloading and sharing child porn on the internet from his home on North Loquat. He was booked yesterday on 10 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor. A fire burning 20 acres in the Rincon Mountains. Saguaro National Park officials tell us lightning sparked the fire just last night. The fire is 0% contained. Temps almost hitting a record today. Will we see any relief heading soon?
Let's head over to Chief Meteorologist Aaron Christensen with the very latest. Aaron, rain, please.
I know. You know, today was stinking hot. I mean, we had some debate at the National Weather Service whether it was 107 or 108 our high. We were officially at 108 for just 1 minute. But either way, temperatures staying well above the average, and the record 109 is going to stay safe in our book. So just below that. If you are going to be riding the streetcar tomorrow, the good news is a little bit cooler. And by the way, those streetcars are well air conditioned. So I'm told 10 a.m. when you can start riding the car, 94 degrees, 102 by 5 o'clock. That will be our high temperature tomorrow, and by 10, 92. But we have turned up our chances for storms this weekend. That in just a bit.
Aaron, thank you. The local hockey community is coming together tonight after one of their own died in a plane crash.
The Yavapai County Sheriff's Office confirms to KGUN-9 that Levi Wallace, along with 3 others, died Sunday in a plane crash near Sedona. According to a family friend, Wallace grew up in Prescott, but recently had moved to Tucson.
9 News Side's Ricky Mitchell is here to tell us how Wallace's hockey teammates here in Tucson are coming together to help his family. Ricky.
That's right, Stella. The Tucson hockey community is very close. So when they got the news that one of their own was in that plane crash, they knew they had to do something to both help his family and honor his memory. Thursday night means hockey for these players, but tonight, one number is missing.
It's kind of somber.
Antonio Martinez played on Levi's team, and even though Levi only started playing here about 6 months ago, Antonio says he left a lasting impression.
He was just a really happy guy. Like, he showed up with a smile, left with a smile, whether we win or lost, whether he was playing good or bad. He was just happy to be out here.
But it wasn't just his positive attitude that his teammates noticed. It was also his impressive hockey skills.
The first game he played, it was a tie game at the end of the regulation, and he was one of the people that went into the shootout. And that very first time, he was a good player, and everybody knew it.
He was definitely a great hockey player, represented pretty much what hockey is about, just a lot of heart. Enjoyed the game.
His coach in Prescott sent us these photos of a younger Levi enjoying the game and said family and friends there held a memorial service for him today, on the day he should have been here playing hockey with his team.
He was just always had a positive outlook on life, and one thing I would take from him was try to live your life like that. He was just a very positive, happy person.
One of Levi's teammates created a wristband with Levi's initials and jersey number. They're selling them for $5. I'm told 100% of the profits will go toward Levi's family. His team is also planning a hockey tournament in Levi's name. For more information and how to buy one of those wristbands, just head to our website, KGUN9.com. Guy?
Thanks, Ricky. Another passenger plane has gone down, this time in North Africa. The Al Algeria flight disappeared off radar earlier today. The airline said the plane crashed in Mali. The plane carried 116 people from at least 10 different nations. Tonight, the plane has been found with burned human remains inside.
Well, GM is getting ready for a big payout to victims of a faulty ignition problem. The company expects to spend as much as $600 million as compensation. GM has recalled over 30 million cars this year. Another $800 million has been set aside to cover the cost of repairing the recalled cars. And it looks like Apple has another employee class action lawsuit to contend with. Employees say they were denied meal breaks and rest periods in violation of California labor law. Attorneys estimate that more than 20,000 current or former Apple employees were affected by this. Apple declined to comment.
All aboard. The modern streetcar begins a new era for downtown Tucson tomorrow. We'll have a behind-the-scenes look at what you'll be experiencing.
Plus, the streetcar doesn't have the only grand opening this week in Tucson. Find out what famous pizza joint is now here downtown when On Your Side at 10 continues.
Not on Your Side getting an all-access pass to ride the streetcar tonight just before its big launch tomorrow morning. You're taking a look at how it will run along 4th Avenue. As you can see, smooth sailing. There will be 4 ribbon-cutting ceremonies tomorrow across downtown. The first ribbon cutting will be at the Mercado District, Avenida del Convento, and Congress streetcar stop at 7 a.m. The dedication and grand opening downtown on Congress and 5th Avenue. Just head to KGUN9.com with all the details.
The streetcar doesn't have the only grand opening this week in Tucson. Today, pizza fans got really excited. Award-winning chef Chris Bianco opened his new Pizzeria Bianco located in the heart of downtown. The New York Times called his pizza perhaps the best in America.
I'm grateful always to be recognized, but I try not to see, well, you won't see anything hanging up in the restaurant of accolades.
Pretty humble. For now, it's first come, first served to fill the 52 seats inside. Bianco says he plans to take reservations down the road. And all I have to tell you guys is Justin Shecker, he was covering the story and he brought back a box, with pizza, and he kept it to himself.
You're kidding.
No.
He didn't even share a little.
No, he said it's my dinner. I said, oh, okay.
Was it like a box or was it like a box?
He said it was like a box, and then he said, oh, there's only like 2 or 3 pieces left. Anyway, the point is it's delicious.
Well, we'll have to give it a try sometime. I know a lot of folks are waiting to see this in our skies once again. I'll tell you when that will happen coming up.
Now, KGUN 9 On Your Side First Warning Weather with Chief Meteorologist Aaron Christensen.
Well, very heavy rains just north of Albuquerque caused all of this flooding. Check out these aerial shots here. Officials say more than 1 inch of rain fell in just about an hour's time. At least a dozen homes were affected, but there were no reports of injuries. Boy, I tell you what, it just seems like it's feast or famine across this country, right? We're going to show you those storms that did move through the New Mexico area in just a bit. Right now, though, a little closer to home, our skies are mostly clear. 91 degrees at this hour, wind from the south at 13 miles per hour. So here's a look at just our local radar, satellite, lightning. We were tracking some storms for you earlier across far western Pima County. We're not even seeing those any longer. A few showers and storms south of the border continuing to stay south of the border and dissipating here as we move through the evening. So they're not moving toward southern Arizona or Tucson. They're moving away from us at this point. When we look at the bird's eye view of what's going on, our high pressure setting up shop here across New Mexico and sort of the southeast corner, if you will, of Arizona. So that drier air moving in from the east. We knew that that was going to be a storm killer for us today, and it certainly was. The only place we saw the storms was on the fringe where we still held on to some of that moisture in the air. So Yuma, Kingman, Flagstaff, and then those storms pushing up there just to the north of the Albuquerque area where they had that inch of rain in just about an hour's time. We are going to watch the high pressure here as we head into the weekend, move into a more favorable position for ushering that moisture back in. 10% chance for storms here overnight for Tucson. Honestly, that's a bit too generous. I'm not counting on any rain here for Tucson tonight. Now tomorrow, though, our storm chance does go up to 20%, mainly after the lunch hour. Our temperature not quite as warm as what it was today, 102 for our high, still above the average, but no record 2/3. Marana, you will warm to 103, 94 for Sierra Vista, 93 Nogales, 96 Douglas, closer to 100 in Oro Valley and Green Valley, a little warmer to the west with Sells coming in at 102, 108 for Cossack Vande. So a look now at the extended forecast. If you're a loyal viewer and you watch us just about every night, then you know that we have tweaked our chances for rain. We've taken Friday down to 20%, but Saturday now I have up to 50% chance for showers and thunderstorms. For your Sunday, 40% chance. So definitely have that umbrella handy when you're planning or going out on the weekends. Our temperature is coming back down to just about 100 degrees. Average is 99, so slightly above average. So this weekend, it looks as though those storms will come back in earnest. I know a lot of folks are looking forward to that.
I would be among them.
I think most of us here would be among them.
I agree.
Thank you.
A team from Vancouver will be here tomorrow night. Maybe a little advantage for the FC Tucson team used to the heat. Playoff soccer in Tucson tomorrow night. As I said, they're going to host the Vancouver Whitecaps. Find out, though, why the boys in black might be in deep water. Plus, do the Super Bowl champions have another loss before the training camp even begins? What a former Seahawk says is about to happen when KGUN 9 on your side at 10 continues.
KGUN 9 on your side sports with sports director Jason Varr.
International soccer in Tucson on Friday, sort of. FC Tucson hosts the Vancouver Whitecaps in the Western Conference semifinals of the PDL. Now, the Whitecaps are an MLS franchise that also have a PDL team. Some of their players are already signed up to play in Major League Soccer next year, as we take a look at Tucson practicing tonight. But so will these college players be overmatched?
I think that they're probably one of these teams that if we score 4 goals, they're going to try and score 5. But I feel pretty confident in our defending.
We know they're going to be very hardworking. They're a very blue-collar team, just goes out there and works their hardest. And we just got to match their intensity and hopefully be more organized than them and outplay them on Friday.
We played against everybody in the country. We know we're the best. I think if we play our game, there's no one that can beat us in the country, so we're excited for that.
That's a lot of confidence there. The game against Vancouver follows the other semifinal game. Whitecaps captain Jay Demerit played on the 2010 U.S. World Cup team, but has been hurt and is retiring at season's end. That was announced today. In 2012, U of A football defense gave up 499 yards per game. Last season, down to 401 yards per game. This year, the Wildcat D will be led in part by senior safety Jared Tevis.
You know, I feel like not just the Pac-12, but nationwide, we're kind of evolving to, you know, that up-tempo spread offense. And, you know, it helps definitely that we're practicing against it every day. And, you know, the guy that created it is, you know, who we're practicing against.
Talking about Rich Rodriguez, of course. Also, Seahawks running back Marshawn Lynch wants more money and plans to hold out of training camp tomorrow. That's what former teammate Michael Robinson told the NFL Network tonight. Lynch is starting the 3rd year of a 4-year deal that pays him $30 million. Seattle wide receiver Sidney Rice retired earlier this week. NBA news, if the Cavaliers do trade Andrew Wiggins for Kevin Love, it won't happen in the next 30 days. Today, Cleveland signed the top overall draft pick, and NBA rules state that he now cannot be moved until August 23rd. So that reported trade will have to wait if that does happen.
Thank you, Jason.
Yep.
We're going to have some rain.
Eventually.
Hopefully,
It will eventually move in. Just a 20% chance for storms tomorrow, but much greater chance for that umbrella over the weekend, and that's coming up.
Plus, headed to the box office this weekend? A few new flicks to check out. We'll show you those when KGUN 9 at 10 continues.
A lot worse condition. That makes me feel good.
Headed to the box office this week?
Yeah, check out what's out in theaters. The action-adventure Hercules starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as the Greek hero. That's rated PG-13. Also out, Lucy, starring Scarlett Johansson, whose character is kidnapped and used as a drug mule. Plus, Michael Douglas and Diane Keaton team up in And So It Goes, where Douglas plays a self-centered realtor whose life is turned upside down.
A lot worse condition.
I started doing yoga, and I know that sounds like a joke right there. He means yogurt. No, yoga.
For more laughs, go see The Fluffy Movie. The comedy follows Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias on his sold-out stand-up tour, Unity Through Laughter. The movie is rated PG-13. By the way, you guys, he is really funny. I would go see that movie.
Imagine never having to rearrange the furniture in your home again.
That's right. Researchers in Switzerland are developing modular robots that can do it for you. So take a look. These so-called Roombots can be manipulated to change shape and create simple furniture on demand. They have grippers that allow them to combine with other parts to form all kinds of furnishing like chairs, sofas, and tables.
When not needed, they can create a simple structure such as a wall or a box. Right now, the modules are controlled by a PC, but the goal is to add cameras and voice recognition.
How cool is that?
Pretty cool.
I wish I had that when I built my desk back in the day.
And what's the price tag on all that?
Yeah, good question. Speaking of cool, that's not what we were today.
No, anything but cool today. We are going to be cooler tomorrow, but still warmer than average. 102 for us for your Friday, but much better chances for storms. 50% Saturday, 40% Sunday.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.